How? Forest. Black and dark. Two dark purple eyes stared into the darkness. The creature let out a low growl, its sharp teeth gleaming in the moonlight. Its fur was sleek and bluish-black, blending perfectly with the surrounding darkness. It was a creature of the night, a hunter that prowled the forest in search of prey. Slowly, the creature emerged from the shadows, its eyes fixed on the girl who stood before it. It transformed into a tall, muscular man with a rugged, handsome face. His dark black eyes and messy black hair gave him an intense look. She sensed danger as he stared into the darkness. Chills ran all over her body, and something crawled up her spine. But then she heard a human voice and hesitated, trying to listen to him. The voice spoke again, and this time she recognized his words. "You will have your revenge," he said in his deep voice as he leaned in to kiss her. As he kissed her lips, her body trembled. She felt a scream of pleasure, an explosion of ecstasy, and the world was suddenly filled with light and colors, like a million rainbows. A million colors. She felt a strange sense of recognition from his touch. Those words kept echoing in her mind over and over. She had never heard such a voice or seen those eyes in her entire life. She couldn't stop thinking about it as she drove aimlessly on the road, scratching the back of her neck in frustration. Suddenly, someone hit her car and fell to the ground. She quickly stopped the car and got out to check on the person. But the man quickly pushed her aside and started running again. Hey, grab him. That thief is running away with my wallet," someone yelled, and she turned to look back before starting to run after him. Everyone stopped what they were doing and stared, but no one came forward to help. She had been chasing him for more than 20 minutes, but the thief seemed to be faster than her. "Hey, hurry. I'm fine, nothing happened to me," he said, quickly brushing the mud off his clothes. Footsteps approached, and he looked up to see a very beautiful girl staring at him with anger in her hazel blue eyes. She wore a blue police uniform that accentuated her curves. He couldn't help but be captivated by her beauty, a beauty that radiated like scorching heat. Not that he had never seen her before, but there was always something about her that drew him in, like a moth to a flame. "I don't know if this city is strange or not, but the girls here are really beautiful." She glared at him. "Shut up, Alton," he muttered to himself, slapping his own head to silence the thought. He was a man with black wavy hair and black eyes, with a beautiful mole under his eyes that gave him the appearance of a dark angel. The girl locked eyes with him, her gaze sharp as his own black eyes drifted over her shoulder, looking at someone behind her. In anger, she stomped her booted foot hard on his leg. "Hey, you're so cruel. I was just kidding," he protested. "Shut up," she said coolly, shoving something hard into his half-open mouth. "Ouch! What is this?" He pulled it out and saw that it was the same wallet he'd been chasing down the street for the past 20 minutes. "Thank you very much. I just received my salary, and it was stolen," he said with a sigh of relief. She didn't respond. "By the way, the people in this city are really strange. A man's been crying for help for the past half hour, but instead of offering help, they just stand around and watch." At this, she turned her neck and looked at him. She gave him a strange look, scanning him from head to toe. Now, if a policeman can't even protect himself while wearing a police uniform, why would anyone help him? "By the way, what are you doing here? As you know, I've been fond of making documentaries since my childhood, so I got some free time today to pursue my hobby." "Look, I made a video on pickpockets," he said, holding up his camera. As soon as she saw it, she started laughing. In those 10 minutes, she laughed more openly than he had ever seen her. "What happened? It doesn't seem so funny now," he remarked after watching the video, where his voice was recorded, but with the image of a dog instead of his face. This, John recorded this, I mean you," he stammered. The girl sat in the car, still laughing, and started the engine. "Hey, take me with you," he shouted, running after the moving car. The girl glanced at him through the mirror and smiled, then increased the speed. There was something about her smile, and the way her hair strands whipped around her face in the wind, that made him feel alive in a way he hadn't felt in years. He quickened his pace, feeling his heartbeat race with anticipation. As he ran, he caught glimpses of her car up ahead, weaving through traffic. "Miss, why are you here? What are you doing standing out in this heat? Look at you, you're drenched in sweat. You should go inside and sit," she said to the woman as they arrived at the police station. The woman, looking about 45 years old, wiped the sweat from her forehead, and the girl guided her inside. "It's been a week now, and I've been going around the police station, but no one is listening to me," the woman said in a low voice. "What happened?" the girl asked, her expression softening as she listened to the woman. "My daughter. She's been missing for a week. No phone call, no message. I don't know what to do or who to tell," the woman said, her voice cracking with emotion. "What is your daughter's name? How old is she? What class does she study in?" the girl asked gently. "Give me all details about her." "My daughter's name was Fariel Matthew. She's a 20-year-old college student," the woman replied. "Did you find out anything from her college?" the girl inquired. "Yes, I went there. They told me she hadn't been attending for a month. When they asked her about it, she said her mother had died and that she was on leave because of it." "That's the problem," the girl said softly. "No one knew where she was going instead of college. And why would she lie about your death?" The woman's face fell, and her voice wavered with guilt. "As her mother, I couldn't help but feel like I had failed her. Maybe if I had paid more attention to her, I could have seen the signs that something was wrong. But now, all I can do is try to piece together the mystery of her disappearance." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Okay, don't cry. Drink some water," she said, offering the woman a glass of water. "Did you get a ransom call?" she asked quietly. "No," the woman replied, setting the glass of water down on the table and shaking her head. "If there had been one, at least I would have known that my daughter is still alive." "No." "Miss Ethan Jasper?" a voice called from the door. "Yes," Ethan responded, looking up. Ethan looked at him. Mr. Park entered the room but froze when he saw the woman. He turned back toward the door, gesturing for Ethan to follow him out. "Try to remember the last time you both had a fight over something, or if you noticed a change in her behavior. Maybe she had an argument with someone or someone was bothering her," Ethan said, patting the woman lightly on the shoulder before leaving the room. "What happened, Mr. Park?" Ethan asked as she caught up with him. "Another body has been found near the forest of Nagosia. The forensic team has arrived, and we need to rush there too," he replied. "Wait, I'm coming with you guys," Alton said, holding his breath. Ethan glanced at Alton before getting into the car. "Any updates?" Ethan asked. "Don't know much yet, but the killer is the same," replied John. "Who?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. Alton carefully examined the body, then looked around. They were at an old factory, long abandoned. Claw marks were visible all over the place, suggesting a fight between large animals. The body of a girl lay there, looking as though she had been there for some time. Her face was disfigured, and animal fur was stuck under her nails. There were claw marks on her body and hair on her clothes, as though she had been trying to defend herself. "Do you think a human can kill an animal alone, without any weapon?" Ethan asked Alton, glancing at the corpse's hands. "Man is only a name for humans," Alton replied cryptically. "Means?" Ethan asked, her confusion evident, causing two lines to form on her forehead. "But looking at it, the fight was probably even," Alton said, quickly changing the topic. "Werewolf," they both said in unison. Alton immediately placed his hand over Ethan's mouth and whispered, "Speak slowly." Ethan's eyes widened at his gesture but quickly regained her composure and nodded. "Okay," she whispered, "I'll speak slowly." He removed his hand from her mouth, a small smile tugging at his lips. "What happened? Found something?" Aiden asked, looking at them both. "I think the case is straightforward. A wild animal must have attacked her. Probably a lion or a tiger," Alton explained. "Lately, attacks by these wild animals have been increasing. This is the third attack. They've tasted human blood. If this continues, cities might become forests." As Aiden examined the torn clothing and deep claw marks on the victim's body, a sense of dread washed over him. The thought of wild animals attacking innocent people terrified him. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair. We need to notify the authorities and make sure this doesn't happen again. People need to be aware of the dangers of venturing into these parts alone. And we need to inform her family too. But she may have been dead for a long time, Alton said. There's nothing left in her clothes, and her face is badly damaged. She'll need to be taken for a post-mortem. At Alton's words, Aidan stared at him for a moment, then signaled John to take the body to the hospital for further processing. Why are you still sitting here? Ethan asked, arriving back at the police station. She was shocked to find the woman still sitting there after 4 hours. It's been almost a week since my daughter went missing. Who else could I go to? There's no one at home, the woman replied, her voice weary. After a brief pause, she continued. I remember some questions you asked before you left. Before she disappeared, she was acting quite strangely. What? Ethan asked, her attention sharpening. A few days before she disappeared, she was suffering from anxiety and hallucinations, the woman said. What kind of hallucinations? Ethan questioned, interrupting her. Kind of strange. She told me she could smell like a dog, and because of it, she used to bathe several times a day. She would scrub herself so hard that there were marks on her body. Then she scratched those marks until they bled. Few days ago, her dog also died. I thought it was just the shock, because I couldn't smell anything. Didn't you take her to a doctor? Ethan asked gently. The woman began to cry. I had her checked by a doctor, but he said she was just depressed, so I was satisfied. I started giving her antidepressants, but they didn't work. And now she's gone, and I don't know where she is. Do you have a picture of her? Ethan asked. Yes, I brought it with me, the woman replied, pulling out a photo from her pocket and handing it to Ethan. Tell me your name, Ethan asked as she examined the photo. Taylor Matthew, the woman answered. Ethan wrote the name on the back of the photo and looked at it for a moment. We will find your daughter, Mrs. Matthew. Don't worry. Mrs. Matthew looked at the young woman with gratitude in her eyes. Thank you so much. I don't know how to thank you enough, she said, her voice trembling with emotion.